Hello, Abnormal Investigations. I've got another encounter for you. This one was actually sent in from London. So I believe it is the first one I've done from London. So I hope you all enjoy this one. And also, don't forget, Wednesday night we'll be going Boots on the Ground. I think it's going to be a really good show that night. So come and join us over there. And let's get this channel up and rolling. Don't forget to smash that like button. And here is your encounter for, this will be the 8 o'clock encounter. So let's get into it. He says that he was bullied while he was in school in London, and something odd had happened during that time. He is actually looking for your all's ideas and opinions on what you think could have possibly have happened. So he says the bully's name was Alex, and he was in my class. He would constantly tease me, call me names, and even push me around. I felt so small and helpless. I tried to ignore him, but it seemed like the more I ignored him, the worse he got. I started to dread coming to school, and my grades began to slip. I felt like I was all alone, like no one understood what I was going through. One day, something changed. Our teacher, Miss Johnson, noticed that I was struggling and pulled me aside after class. She asked me what was wrong, and I finally opened up to her about the bullying. She listened with kind eyes and a warm smile, and for the first time I felt like someone truly heard me. With Miss Johnson's support, I started to regain my confidence. She helped me develop strategies to deal with Alex's bullying, and she even spoke with the school counselor to get me some extra support. It wasn't easy, but with time I started to feel like myself again. I learned that I didn't have to face the bullying alone, and that there were people who cared about me and wanted to help. But Alex, he got mad and he called me the teacher's pet, and he punched me right in the nose one day. I was shocked and scared. I didn't know what to do. My nose was gushing blood. I was scared to death. I just stood there, tears streaming down my face as Alex walked away laughing. Miss Johnson saw the whole thing and rushed over to help me. She gave me a hug and a cold compress to put on my nose. She told me that she was so proud of me for standing up for myself and that she would make sure Alex faced consequences for his actions. One day at recess, Alex punched me in the stomach again, knocking the air completely out of me, and he made me pee my pants, in which he laughed and pointed at me loudly. I was mortified. I couldn't believe what had happened. I felt like I was all alone and no one came to help me. I struggled to catch my breath and I couldn't stop crying. The shame and embarrassment I felt were overwhelming. I didn't know how I was going to face my classmates again. But then something changed. A few of my classmates who had witnessed the whole thing came over to me and offered their support. They helped me to clean up and to get changed into some spare clothes. The coach always kept extra clothes that were in the lost and found. They told me that what Alex did was not okay, and they believed me. They stood up for me when I couldn't stand up for myself. With their help, I finally found the courage to report the incident to the school administration. Alex faced serious consequences, and I received the support and protection I needed. It was a difficult experience, but I learned that I didn't have to face it alone. I learned that there are good people in the world who still stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. I had to walk home. There was a part of the walk I had to cut through the woods and across a small bridge that went over a stream. As I walked through the woods, the trees seemed close, and they seemed to close in around me, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. I would always quicken my pace, my heart racing with every snap of twig and every rustle of the leaves. I couldn't shake the feeling that Alex was following me, that he was lurking just out of sight, waiting to beat me again. But I made it to the bridge without incident. It was old and creaky, and it seemed to sag under my weight as I crossed over the stream. I felt a sense of relief wash over me once I reached the other side, like I had escaped something terrible. The rest of the walk home was a blur. Just wanted to get inside, lock the door behind me. and just forget about the whole ordeal. But as I walked, I realized that I wasn't alone. There were people who cared about me, who wanted to help me. And with their support, I knew I could face anything that came my way. My teacher the next day, Miss Thomas, told me to come over to her house after school. I was a bit nervous as I walked to Miss Thomas's house. Yes, I know, I called her Miss Johnson in the beginning, Mike. But she was later married, and it switched to Miss Thomas. I know your viewers will probably catch this, so I want to make that clear. I had never been to a teacher's home before, and I wasn't sure what to expect, but when I arrived, she greeted me with a warm smile. She invited me in. She was dressed in a black dress. We sat down in her cozy living room, and she asked me how I was doing. I hesitated at first, but something about her kind eyes and gentle manner put an ease to me. I congratulated her on her marriage, and she just smiled at me. And I asked her if I would meet her husband, and she said, "He's not around. He's always busy." She then said, "Alex is not going to stop," she said. "Maybe the old bad wolf will just have to get him, huh?" I had started laughing, and I told her that would be nice. I opened up to her about what had happened with Alex, and she listened attentively, nodding her head and making supportive noises. When I finished, she took my hand in hers and told me how sorry she was. She said that I was a bright and special student, and that she was there to support me, not just in academics, but in my life. We talked about things for a while longer, and I left her house feeling seen, heard, and understood. I wasn't sure what Miss Thomas meant by the old bad wolf, but her words stuck with me. I felt like she was telling me that Alex's behavior wouldn't go unchecked forever, that eventually he would face consequences for his actions. It was a comforting thought, and it gave me the strength to keep going even when things got tough. And then something strange happened. Alex started to get into trouble, both in and out of school. He got into fights, got detention, and eventually even got suspended. It was like the universe was finally catching up to him, and he was facing the consequences of his own actions. I never forgot Miss Thomas's words and realized that she had been right all along. The old bad wolf had finally come for Alex, and it was a powerful reminder that our actions have consequences and that justice can be slow, but it is sweet. But then my feelings were hurt. I heard her invite him over to her house. Yes, she invited the bully to her house. I thought, oh my God, he will be crossing the same bridge that I now have to cross. Great. I felt like I'd been punched right in the gut again. I couldn't understand why Miss Thomas would invite Alex over, especially after she had been so kind and supportive to me. I thought she understood how much he had hurt me, how much he had made me suffer. But now it seemed like she was just pretending like she didn't care about my feelings at all. I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me as I thought about Alex crossing my bridge, walking through the same woods where I had felt so scared and alone. It was like my safe space was being invaded, like nothing was sacred anymore. I didn't know what to do, but I knew I couldn't just sit back and let it happen. At recess that day, Alex just came right over and kicked my ass again and took a ring my dad had given me before he had passed away. He held the ring in his dirty hands. He threw it into his mouth and swallowed it. I cried. I bawled. I was consumed by anger, sadness, and a sense of helplessness. I felt like I was reliving the same nightmare all over again. How could Alex be so cruel and heartless? Didn't he know how much that ring meant to me? It was the last thing my dad gave me before he passed away, and now it was gone, swallowed by the same boy who had made my life a living hell. I felt like I was at a breaking point, like I couldn't take it anymore, but then something inside me snapped. And I knew I had to stand up for myself. I couldn't let Alex win. I couldn't let him take away my dignity and my sense of self-worth. I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and decided to face him once and for all. But Alex, he was too much. I tried to stand up to him, I really did. But he just laughed in my face and pushed me around some more. Kicked my ass pretty good. I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, like I couldn't escape no matter how hard I tried. And that's when I realized I needed help, that I couldn't do it on my own. So I went to the principal's office and told him everything about the bullying, the ring, and how I felt. Well, how I felt like I was all alone. The next morning when I got to school, Miss Thomas met me at the front door and told me that school was closed. She said Alex was found shredded, half-eaten under the bridge. She said they found my ring he stole, and she gave it back to me. It was bloody, and it kind of freaked me out, but it was my dad's ring, and I was somewhat in shock, so I just gripped my hand around it and started my walk back home. As I was walking away, I go back home, and I'm heading home, and I'm walking, and I'm afraid, and I'm scared. And then I hear whispering behind me, and kind of a whisper yell, it's hard to explain. Miss Thomas said, "It sounds like the old bad wolf got him, don't it?" And she chuckled and put her hand over her mouth. Miss Thomas moved away the next summer. Was she? I was grateful for her no matter what she was. I never forgot Miss Thomas' words and actions. She taught me that even in the darkest times there is always hope, and that sometimes the universe delivers justice in unexpected ways. I carried her lessons with me for the rest of my life, and they have helped me navigate the ups and downs of growing up. I will always be grateful for her presence in my life. I will always be grateful, always, but I will always wonder what really happened under that bridge that day. Maybe she was just my protector. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? I'm going to leave that one for you guys. I look forward to seeing your comments on this one. I think it was a really good encounter. I appreciate it seeing in all the way from London. And I look forward to see what you all say about this one. Until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And we'll see you on the next one.